the agents who killed the person in Maine yesterday were reportedly not using body-worn cameras, and that's despite DHS officials coming to Congress and repeatedly saying over the last few months that they want to expand body camera usage. Does there need to be accountability on DHS from Congress here?
I don't know anything about this event. Okay, I was a little busy yesterday, so I'm going to reserve judgment. I know that there was a tragic shooting, and I'm not going to comment on it because I don't know. And you guys can mock me for not knowing that. I worked about 22 hours in the last few days, and I did not get the briefing on that yet. I will this morning.
Yeah, I'm not going to mock you for it, Mike. I'm just going to call you a liar because that's what you are. You know exactly what happened yesterday. You know what happened in Minneapolis. You understand that un-American actions are continuing to accelerate across America while Susan Collins votes for $70 billion in ICE funding that has no reforms attached to it. You have Americans being gunned down in the streets of Minneapolis by masked men. That's un-American. You have fathers, husbands, grandfathers being gunned down in Houston, gunned down in the street for no reason in Biddeford, Maine, and the killers whisked away. No justice. No investigations, no real investigations allowed by local authorities who have seen their city streets being turned into killing zones. And you don't know about that, Mike? What do you know about? You know about, oh my God, you know about $350 billion that you say is needed to fight communism in America? Do you know how dangerous you sound, Mike? I saw conservative commentators who are still conservative, unlike you, unlike the president, unlike so many other Republicans that I used to work with in Congress, saying every conservative should be afraid when a Speaker of the House says we want to use $350 billion against Americans. People that you call communists because they believe in more affordable health care. People that you call communists because they believe that billionaires and multinational corporations should pay their fair share in taxes. People you call communists because the income disparity between the richest Americans and the poorest Americans continue to grow. Now, let's think now. Look, that's real commie thinking. No, actually, it was Alan Greenspan himself who said the greatest threat to American capitalism is income disparity, the kind of income disparity that you continue to generate. Are you un-American, Mike? Are Republicans that continue to do what Alan Greenspan said for a decade was the greatest risk to American democracy and American capitalism? You un-American? Are they un-American? And as far as immigrants go, I know you don't really know because you didn't know what happened yesterday. So you probably don't know that there was a guy named Ronald Wilson Reagan who was the 40th president of the United States. And he used his farewell speech to America talking about the importance of immigrants coming to this country. Like the fathers, like the sons, like the husbands, like the workers that you're allowing to be gunned down by ICE. Time and time again in American streets. And what happens afterwards? The killers are whisked away. The killers are whisked away, and they're protected from justice, just like King George III would surely protect royal troops that gunned down patriots 250 years ago. Whisk them away from the scene of the crime where the patriots are gunned down. Here, whisking these masked federalists without cause. I want to know, what does Ken Paxton think about a Hispanic father, a Hispanic grandfather, a man who'd been in America for over 30 years, misidentified and shot to death in the street of Houston? What does Ken Paxton think about that? What does Susan Collins say? I'm sure she's disturbed. Or what's her word? What's her word? What did she say?
Concerned.
I'm concerned. Maybe it's concerned.
They're all concerned.
I'm sure she's concerned.
I would be concerned.
About what happened in the streets of Maine. A sweet, kind, young man that
Beautiful
community
family.
members said was so kind, so loving, getting gunned down
in front of his little girl.
through a car window in front of his family? Where's that killer? What justice for that killer? What justice for that killer? What justice for the men and women who continue to let American streets turn into killing zones? Communists? They're worried about, maybe they should be worried about fascists. There he is. There's the young man being remembered. The young father.
You have 2 jobs.
The young worker. Look at that face. That is the face of a man who typifies what Ronald Reagan said his last night in the White House. It is men like this that will keep America forever young, forever growing, forever American. You can go to France and you'll never be called a Frenchman, Reagan said. You can go to Turkey or Germany and you'll never be Turkish or a German. But you come to America and you will become an American.
And Willie, according to the New York Times, this 25-year-old young man, a young father, was left dead in the street with his wife weeping next to his body. His 3-year-old girl saw the whole thing happen, traumatized for life. They lived in an apartment building. He worked as a DoorDash driver and cleaned a veterinary center at night. He held 2 jobs. He was seen in the community as someone who was so kind. The whole family was seen as so kind. And all of a sudden, this happens to them for no reason, it appears. And according to his father, he had legal status to work in America. And from all the reports we've heard so far, Willie, he was not the intended target of ICE.
Well, that's the important point. They shot the wrong person. They killed the wrong person again, because he got into a car that they thought was the car that belonged to someone that kind of looked like him, maybe, or whatever the reasoning was. Again, shooting into a car, which violates every protocol of every well-trained police officer at any police department in the United States. That should be obvious. And to your point, Joe, about Susan Collins, when she voted for the $70 billion, as you just pointed out, to support this operation that we watched again 2 days ago in Maine and the week before in Houston have deadly consequences, she said, I voted for it, but here's what I got out of it. Body cameras and real investigations when bad things happen. Well, no body cameras, again, in the case of this shooting in Maine, and no real investigations of any of these. It took 6 months for federal investigators to give evidence over in Minnesota to state officials so that they could then look into it. These are not real investigations. This is not real accountability. And for Mike Johnson to say, I worked a 22-hour day yesterday, doing what? We don't know, sweeping up after President Trump or chasing around whatever the president's requests or whim of the day is, because that seems to be his job. I guess there are going to be a lot of staff firings in Speaker Johnson's office if they didn't brief him on this story. And again, Joe, just to go back to the core, as you bring up Ronald Reagan, principle that conservatives have talked about since I can remember, which is the idea of jackbooted thugs, as they called them around Ruby Ridge, or they called them around Waco, you know, marauding through the streets, going after people in this country. It's happening. It's happening in real time in our streets in this country.
It's happening in real time in our streets. And maybe those people driving into their country clubs with "Don't Tread on Me" license plates on their Maseratis, maybe they should take those off and understand that if they still support this administration and their actions, then they actually are on the side of King George III. They actually are on the side of the people that conservatives once called jackbooted thugs after Ruby Ridge and after Waco. They are the ones that are allowing the killings to go on in the streets of America based on faulty identification and no due process.
And seemingly covering
Maybe
it up.
Democrats need to be the ones start flying the flag of don't tread on
getting there.
me, because